you could sense it.
Yeah.
It was thick, almost like you could cut it with a knife.
Yeah.
And
what's the wildest miracle or anything like that you saw, something supernatural? Was it just kind of...
And then Lonnie said, if you want to accept Christ, get up and walk forward right now. And some kids went forward. And I thought, there's no way. We tell people, share your faith, because most people come to Christ when a Christian talks to them or invites them to church. Yeah. No one shared with me.
Ruslan.
Were there verified miracles that Lonnie performed? Because I've also heard that from different accounts, and I've seen some different documentaries about him. Or was it just mainly kind of words of knowledge in terms of your experience and what you saw?
I can only speak to what I saw. I mean, a miracle. That's a pretty big thing. You know, like, I believe I saw people healed. Mm-hmm. You know, would I call that a miracle? I'd call it supernatural. Mm-hmm. So it's miraculous. So I guess that could be classified as a miracle of sorts.
Yeah.
I think there's some miracles that would be more dramatic than others, like the restoration of sight to a blind man, mm-hmm. or the ability to walk to, mm-hmm. a disabled person.
Yeah.
I never saw anything like that personally.
Okay.
And so I'm not saying they were or were not real, but I do believe there was, there was a supernatural move of the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. And when you went to church, you could sense it.
Yeah.
It was thick, almost like you could cut it with a knife.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything we can do to create that.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful thing when it's happening. But I think Chuck, his wisdom was, it was all great, but it's like, let's open our Bibles. Yeah. And that is the course he stayed on. And I once asked Chuck, when he was quite a bit older, I said, Chuck, if an older Chuck could speak to a younger Chuck, what would you tell yourself?
Yeah.
And his response was, in his words, hold the course. That's my version of Chuck, hold the course. I go, what do you mean by that? Like, just keep doing what you're doing, stay in the race. And yeah that's right, just hold the course. And so Chuck held the course, and I think that was a smart thing to do.
Yeah. What's the wildest miracle or anything like that you saw, something supernatural? Was it just kind of folks that were on drugs getting off of drugs? What if you could pinpoint to one thing that you saw, maybe that wasn't in the film or was in the film?
Nothing is coming to mind off the top of my head, but I will just say this about myself. And I don't know that I would classify salvation as a miracle, but it is passing from darkness to light.
Yeah.
And it is the most important thing of all, because you could have a healing, you're still going to die. Mm-hmm. You could have a miracle, but your life will still come to an end. But salvation is forever.
Yeah.
And just looking at my own life, no one ever shared the gospel with me. No one ever invited me to a Christian meeting. Mm-hmm. I literally happened upon it because I met this girl on my high school campus who was a Christian. I didn't know her. I saw she had a Bible, and there was something about her that attracted me. Mm. And it's not that she was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen. She was cute, but there was something else. Yeah. And I thought, what is it with this girl? Mm-hmm. And so one day I was walking across my high school campus, actually to score some weed. It was called Acapulco Gold back in the day.
I've never heard of that one.
You buy a lid of it, which is a little plastic bag. I heard there was some, and I was looking for whoever it was that had it, and I walked by this group of Christians singing songs on the front lawn of my high school campus, and this girl was there. And so I sat close enough to eavesdrop on their conversation. And I very quickly dismissed them as crazy.
Yeah.
But then I thought, but why? Why would they carry Bibles? Why would they talk about God? Why would they sit out on the front lawn of this campus and sing songs about Jesus? And the problem with my narrative was there was a few of them that I had known before. One guy I used to party with, and now he's one of them. I know he's not crazy. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, wow, he's one of them. And then I just tried this thought on for size. What if it's true? And I thought, no, it can't be. And I was cynical because of the way I'd been raised. I had to grow up fast. I'd seen so many dark things as a child in the adult world of my mother. I was very hardened and cynical.
Yeah.
So I dismissed it. But then the thought came back, what if it's true? And then Lonnie Frisbee, who's on my campus, stands up and preaches, and he kind of looks like Jesus. He has long hair and a beard.
Yeah.
I'm a 17-year-old kid, using drugs, looking for answers in life. And I'm going, wow, this is different.
Hey, you want to see something crazy? Over 51% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribed. Do me a favor, please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you don't miss anything we have going here. I appreciate you.
And I don't remember most of his sermon, but I remember when he said, Jesus said, you're for me, you're against me. just like a lightning bolt hit me. And I looked around at the Christians and I thought, well, I'm not one of them. Does that mean I'm against Jesus? I don't want to be against Jesus. I believe he's there somewhere. And then Lonnie said, if you want to accept Christ, get up and walk forward right now. And some kids went forward. And I thought, there's no way. No way I could do that. Next thing I knew, I was up there.
Wow.
And here's why I think this is miraculous. So I pray this prayer. The school bell rings. No one gives me a Bible. No one says, hey, Greg, you're a Christian now. Come to church. I just go back to class, and I'd plan that weekend to go off into the mountains and get high and take LSD. And I went on with my friends, and I was alone, and I was sitting on a rock, and I was filling a pipe with and getting ready to smoke it. And that same still voice spoke to me again and said, you don't need that anymore. And I'm like, I said, okay, God, I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
I don't know what this means.
Yeah.
I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
But if you're real, you have to make yourself real to me.
Yeah.
And my life started changing so radically. Again, I didn't know any Christians yet. Now I started getting to know them. Then I went to church and everything started making sense and people explained it. But it was like, we tell people, share your faith, because most people come to Christ when a Christian talks to them or invites them to church.
Yeah.
No one shared with me. God literally plucked me out of darkness and brought me to himself. So for me, that's a personal miracle.
Yeah, no, that's good. And my story is very similar. Same age, same kind of thing. Wow. There was no one that even told me that looking at porn was wrong, or that, you know, hey, if you slip up with your girlfriend, like you can't do an abortion out. Like those are and like no one had these conversations with me. I just like instinctively, it was like the scales fell from my eyes, and I just knew. Yeah. And so right around the same age, you know, so that's really interesting in terms of the window of time. Pastor Chuck had to have been really comfortable and solid to be willing to platform different men. You, Lonnie, what was that window of time between when you were there and then when the church was initially planted? I have a couple more questions for you. Guys, if you're here, we're going to be going to our Patreon exclusive segments. We're going to talk about revival today, what that would look like. I have a question about some billboards that apparently Harvest Church caught some flack for a couple years ago. And I have a question about deconstruction. So if you guys want to enjoy that part of the conversation, it'll be on our Patreon community. So, hey, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see the full extended version of this podcast, be sure to sign up for our Patreon community for only $5 a month. It'll really help us continue contextualizing the gospel using YouTube, media, and podcasting. And in exchange, you will get full unedited versions of the podcast, of our daily after party streams, a discount for our merch store, and exclusive access to our private Discord server. It's only $5 a month. The link for Patreon is in the description of this video, as well as the pinned comment below. Again, hit the link in the description, sign up now, and I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.